I hit that button. Oh, look at this.
What?
We're live.
You got like an AI avatar? That's a cool looking.
We're live.
Picture.
No, Joel
made me a sweet logo.
Yeah.
Check it out. We're live. Look at that. I need to open up the butt. For those of you not familiar, the butt is the app for going live, and it's an acronym. And there's a new version available. I'll save that for later. All right, here we go. I'm hitting the live button on the radio. Why is it? Oh, it won't even let me do it. Now it will. We live on the radio. Jai, you want to hit us with a little intro? You got a little intro? Welcome to Home Service Happy Hour, brought to you by Service Monster. Yeah, that's the intro. That's the intro we like. Oh, it's official now. Oh, I gotta make it. I gotta go to get on the robot here in the hand. Get us public. So out there enjoying content, you can share it as soon as Facebook decides to work. Come on with it. All right, man. There we go. Here we go. What's up, everybody? No Angela today. We are Sans Angela. Is that right? Sans means out. Right? All right.
Yep. Without, yes.
Yeah. That's who we are. And now we're public on the thing with the place. What's up, everybody? Happy Wednesday. It's Home Service Happy Hour time. Angela's up in the air. She's still checking in. What's up, Ange? What her brother likes to call it. Ange. She's dancing from the plane. I can picture it now, and JC's probably sitting right next to you, looking at you like you're the biggest weirdo on the planet. And I would be too. Happy Wednesday, everybody. It's good to be here. I'm sober, Dan. I just got electrolyte water in my cup. Sean's looking at me like, yeah, right. Yeah, right.
I looked at my calendar.
Oh, it's a big deal. It's a big deal, folks. Actually, it's not really a big deal. Angela and I joke about this all the time. Like, when we stop drinking, because there's no positive repercussions. There's no, like, negative repercussions. But nothing's really changing. Just doing stuff. I got, last week, we were telling stories / things that we're working on as a bunch of nerdy vendors in the industry. So last week was all about stuff we're working on. And this week we're going to be talking all about stuff you ought to be working on. One of the pitfalls, one of the downfalls, one of the trajectory inhibitors, one of the skydives of folks in our industry is that we hit this like take a deep breath after the busy season, and then all of a sudden it's the holidays, and then all of a sudden we're into early to mid-January, and then all of a sudden then we got maybe some holiday light takedowns, and we keep saying like, oh, I'm gonna work on these things, I'm gonna get to these things, I got all winter to do them, all these projects. And then all of a sudden it's like mid-February and you're like, oh shit, I got to be getting ready because we got to be going in March. And if you've been in the industry long enough, you've probably done that at least 3 times by now. Maybe you fixed it by now, or maybe you just know you need to fix it. But, I'm not saying like, don't take some time off to rest and relax and recuperate and all that stuff. But sure as hell, make sure you're ready to go for next spring. And that starts right now. Now's the time. There's obviously some tax planning stuff. We already did an episode on that, but if you got questions, throw out your tax questions in here, of course. There's some tax things you might want to do before the end of the year. But aside from just planning for that, there's a lot of things that you should start implementing or working on as far as your systems and processes go. I want to focus on that. I got to give a quick shout out to our sponsors. Home Service Happy Hour, brought to you by Service Monster. If I'm pointing at the right part of my screen, there's a QR code right down there, and they're a big thing I want to talk about today. I was hoping I could get Zach on the show today, who's I'll say their salesperson for lack of a better word, but their demo dude that shows around. Because one of the things I think is super important to be working on right now is getting your CRM dialed in, getting the right CRM, scoping out new ones. Hashtag go check out Service Monster. And we got the lovely Sean Day back in the house. Sean, I think we missed you for an episode or two doing the Vertigos. You were just having a wild ride in your own head. You feeling all right? Feeling
much better, man. Yep, absolutely. I'm not laying on the ground. I'm not passed out in my garage or on the floor wondering what the hell's going to happen to me. It was crazy.
Vertigo sucks, man. Sean, glad to have you back.
Thanks. Good to be back, man.
What did they say? It was the sinus thing? It was just sinus
Yeah, I had like a really bad sinus infection that I could deal with fine, but man, my ears started getting really plugged up, and then like just nausea, spinning. It was like the worst. I don't know how to explain it other than it's like being absolutely drunk without the good part of being drunk buzz, and
just the sick part of it.
The worst seasick that you could ever imagine. That's how it is. And then like we're expecting anywhere between 1 inch and 4 feet of snow. So I'm getting my snow blower already. And like every 15 minutes, I just lay down on my back in the garage and look up, just praying that it stops spinning, man. Because I don't have a bench big enough to hold a snow blower in my garage. So like I'm bending down, standing up, and just lost it. It was horrible.
Man, sounds like me after the senior prom, except for the snow blowing.
Yeah, like, pretty much.
The room was spinning. I didn't know what to do with myself besides lay down on the ground and hope it would stop. That was all I knew to do. Sean Day from Higher Lead Chill, folks, and we're gonna pick Sean's brain a whole lot because one of the processes you need to be thinking about right now, sure as hell, is your recruiting for next year. So we'll get all into that. And we got the lovely Michael Gregory from Click Call Sell in the house. What's going on, MG?
What's up? I haven't been called lovely. I can probably count in one hand the amount of times somebody called me lovely. So thank you, Dan. You were also lovely.
Yeah. I'm not actually lovely, but you usually are. You are pretty pleasant. But aside from that, how you boys doing? Are you like ready for some holidays? Are you feeling like you need some time off, or are you feeling like you got systems and processes to jump into?
We're having Christmas at our place for the first time in like 20 some years. So we're pumped up about that. Have about 15, 20 people over. Looking forward to that. I feel like I'm ready to do a wind sprint and ready to go again because I've been dying for 2 weeks with being sick. So this is like I'm up, I'm ready, I'm into it. I'm not burned out at all.
just got refreshed.
You're damn right I did.
What do you got going on, Michael? I know I'm going to see you in like a week and a half here, actually.
You are. I'm super stoked. Yeah.
Down on the East Coast.
All my favorite people together on the East Coast. The only part that sucks for me is that 6.5 hour flight. Literally as far away.
It's that long? It's that long across the country?
In the air, yeah, because I have to go to Charlotte and then up to Jacksonville. Holidays are going to be interesting this year. It's the first year that in 35 years that my wife is not going to be at her parents' house on Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. So a lot going on.
Look at this.
Oh,
hey guys. Hey guys.
Hey.
Wait, where's Angela? I thought she was with you.
She is she's in the air. I'm going to get her right now.
Oh, I got you. For some reason, I thought you were both in the air because every time when I think either one of you is on an airplane, I just naturally assume the other one is there. Like, how could you be anywhere else?
She's not doing well without me. I'll tell you that much.
I bet not. I bet not. She's a damsel in distress now.
Well, when she travels alone, she usually travels to the back of the plane. So it's she's got to come home. She's got to shower before we talk.
Can't believe you make her sit in the back of the plane, JC. That's messed up.
Yeah. Yep.
She's a big girl. I know she hates that word. I'll probably get yelled at, but she can make life choices.
Mm-hmm. Just don't call her your girlfriend. Now she's your ex-girlfriend, though. Isn't that what you call her?
This is true.
I may or may not call her that.
Yeah. I like it. Well, thanks for jumping in, JC.
What are we talking
Jared,
about?
Hashtag Jared. So today we're talking all about systems, processes, stuff y'all folks need to be thinking about for the winter, getting ready to work on. I've got a couple in mind. Like I said, for sure, I know Sean's gonna have some words for you. one thing that I have repeatedly said over the last 2 months on this show, well, ever since Service Monster started sponsoring it, is like, hey, you guys got to go check out Service Monster. It's freaking awesome. Go check it out, but don't switch. Like when they started sponsoring the show, it was early fall. You guys don't have time to be switching CRMs in the early fall. Are you kidding me? It's go time. You can't change the tires on the car while you're driving it. But now that we're hitting that slow time, and again, like we want to take some time off and rest and relax, and I get that. We deserve that. But if you're thinking about switching CRMs, like now is the time.
Yeah.
Now is the time. Not only, I mean, it's not like the flip of a light switch, right? There's a lot of legwork that goes into switching CRMs, but some of it, and Michael, you've always pointed this out. I actually had this conversation with a guy today that is up to this point has not been using a CRM, and he's looking at his first one, and he ran into a thing that you have pointed out a lot, which he's like, I don't know, I can't find one that fits my processes. And I was like, I know a guy named Michael Gregory that's told me all about this, which is you need to have time to figure out how to make the CRM's processes work with your processes.
Mm-hmm.
Say it how Michael would say it, because I'm not doing it justice. How would Michael say that?
Well, I kind of have to tee up the story as to why, because why is so important. So in franchising, when I was working with franchise organizations, they would first of all, every software company has everything in development. You ask a question like, oh yeah, it's coming, it's in the pipeline. Everything's coming. Everything's going to be there. Except that, like, in most cases, it doesn't ever happen, right?
Right.
So they would bring in like the 10 power users, and then you'd find that like they're all 7-figure, 8-figure companies crushing it, but they have like their own nuance and what they like to do and how they like the CRM. CRM comes in, they're like, okay, yeah, we can put that on the timeline, all this roadmap. And what happened is like nothing ever got done. People were fighting about process. So what I found, and there's like so many options for CRMs. So when you are switching, and I love Service Monster because their reporting is so good. Like they work very, very well with like high frequency services. Just it's a great CRM. That being said, you want to find and learn the way that Service Monster works and say, okay, can I adopt my process to Service Monster? Because you're never going to find a CRM that can, whatever you come up with, all the crazy entrepreneur ideas that you have, you're not going to find a CRM that works that specific perfect way. So say, can I adapt my processes, and what would my process look like if I did it just a little bit different? And I think you'll find that Service Monster is a really good choice for you.
To all of what you just said, the thing we ran in today with the guy that I was talking to was he was looking at it, he's like, well, I have to put it on the schedule this certain way. And my answer to him was like, no, you don't. That's just like the standard way to do it. But there's a workaround for everything in every CRM. Yes. Every CRM is a little bit different. Mm-hmm. But you got to give yourself time to figure out your workarounds, right? Like the CRM is not going to follow your exact process or your exact logic, but somebody somewhere has already figured out how to do what you haven't figured out how to do in that CRM yet. So like Facebook groups can be a damning place, but CRM user groups can be super helpful because
really good point. Don't focus on the nuance, right? Like this one time, this one thing happens like 1 out of 100 jobs. It's like big picture, right? I'm trying to schedule jobs that have multiple locations. How do we do that? And there's already, like you said, the Facebook groups might be a little bit alarming because you've got people that have like their crazy workarounds. But if you go to the specific, like the Service Monster Facebook page, somebody there is going to have already figured out what you do. And you just have to just modify your process a little bit to work the way the CRM was intended to work. And of course, that's why there's CRMs that are more specialized in like construction or roofing or maid service or whatever, because they've already built their process specific to that. Another good point for Service Monster is they've built these out for so many different industries already that you don't necessarily have to worry about, do they work with landscapers? Do they work with window cleaners? Because yes, they do work with everybody that's probably listening to the show.
Heck yeah. Don't mind me sitting sideways here. I'm just putting socks on. That's what I'm doing. That's why I'm looking so weird. Also, just in case it happens, my computer has died 15 times today. Not died, frozen up, and I've had to hard restart. So if I disappear, as that one Saturday Night Live skit would say, like, talk amongst yourselves. I might disappear, and I'll be back in like 2 minutes after I hard restart. And then if I'm back in like 3 or 4 minutes, it's probably because I threw my computer out the window and I'll be on my phone. It's pretty close.
It's time to get a new computer, Dan. That's the beginning of the end.
This is a brand new compuder.
Should have got it back. Should have got it back.
JC.
I spent over $1,500 on this damn thing. I don't know if it's a Windows issue or it's an HP, and I'm just kind of regretting going with an HP. I am an iPhone user, JC. I'm not totally opposed to Mac, but I am cheap, and like a MacBook with less processing power was like $3,000. So I didn't do that. But then again, I would have saved that $1,500 in productivity just today, probably. So it's not lost on me. Not lost on me. I know I'm an idiot. I'm sticking to it.
I'm JC's only.
So
PC
I love this.
And I'm excited about it.
I love this topic about CRMs because it's scary. It is a necessary evil. You definitely have to have a CRM for your company. I think it's one of the first things you should look into right away. It's easier to start when you're younger and grow with it. But when you're looking to change, asking other companies what their favorite CRM is, like asking what their favorite car is, asking what their favorite. Everyone's gonna have different options. They're gonna hate one for another reason. They're gonna say they left it for another reason. But then they go to another one and they're like, well, this one sucks too for this. Like, if you're gonna switch, it's a big commitment. It's like a relationship. Like, you need to go all in, but do the research too. And don't expect to get every single thing that you want out of one CRM, because like Michael's saying, sometimes you have to adjust and modify your process to make it work to get the results that you want. But we're archaic still in the customer factor. I mean, I don't know how we're still doing it. I know we need to switch, and we're probably going to be looking at something here in January. But do your research, all I say. I mean, I've seen people. It is a very, very time consuming process to do it and to go all in on and do it. So be ready, have the people to support you within your team, and also be able to have people that that use it that can help you when you're trying to navigate through some issues.
Yeah, and I wish Rob was on here so we could make fun of him, because I think Rob is like
he's tried every one of them. Every single one. Yeah.
The dude that tried to find the perfect CRM, and he's made laps around all of them and still hasn't found the perfect one yet, I don't believe. I think he's
probably still paying for 6 of them.
Yeah, I bet he is. I'm sure he is. And so I think like it's finding the one that's the best fit, but there's not going to be a perfect fit. And JC, to your point, when I was talking to my coaching guy today, that was my thing to him is, it's insightful to get feedback from others, but don't jump into a CRM because somebody else said to use it. It's so much about how does your brain work and which one is closest to how you like to run your business and does things the best way for you. You're not going to find the perfect one, but you're going to go from one conversation where somebody loves Jobber to the next conversation where somebody hates Jobber. One conversation to Dan says use Service Monster and he loves Service Monster, and then you're going to go talk to the next person who hates Service Monster, right? There's not one that's the perfect silver bullet for everything. We love Service Monster. It works super good for our business. I know there's companies out there that it doesn't work as good for, whether it's the way it looks, the way it feels, where you put the notes, right? They're just different enough. So don't get hung up on who recommends what and whatever. Go check enough of them out. And I got marriage advice one time from a former boss in the corporate world, and it's the most hilarious. And it's from a female. It's the most hilarious marriage advice ever, which is find somebody that you can stand to be around most of the time and marry them. Like it was that simple. She's like, don't marry somebody that's like the sexiest person. Don't marry somebody that's that's the that, right? Marry somebody that you can stand. And that was it.
She was going to tell you to try a few of them.
Yeah, she didn't. I don't remember if she said to try a few of them or not. But I thought that was very funny coming from a female, especially, which is just like marry somebody that you can stand to be around. And I was like, man, that just like makes it very ho hum. I've also seen it in another way, be like, your spouse is like your couch. You want it to be comfortable, but not so nice that somebody else wants to steal it. So I think that's a funny way to look at it too.
Couple more thoughts on CRMs real quick, if you don't mind. QuickBooks is not a CRM, so that doesn't count.
Thank you for saying that. Yeah.
Think think long term. Don't think today. If you're a new company starting out, don't be looking for a company that can support you now. Look for a company that can support you in 2-3 years, because you don't want to make that switch. And don't look at the dollar value of like how much they cost, because they're all, I think, pretty relatively close for the bigger ones, the good ones. I mean, Customer Factor is definitely in the lower end. I don't want to just throw out names. I'm just throwing out the ones I use or know of. But, don't look at that cost, because think of it, the cost of savings of time and how much that can help grow your company with automation systems and processes, things that you're not doing right now. So for every dollar, going out, what's the X on that coming back because of what they can do for you?
Yeah, I mean, as I look at it from a finance nerd and like where that expense goes on your P&L, it's an investment. It has to, like, you're using that thing, it will, I mean, it has to, but it will make you more money than it costs you. And the right one that functions with your business, it's an investment. And to what you said earlier, JC, it's a huge investment. It's an investment of your time too, because if you just try to plug it in and go, it's going to suck. You're going to suck. And it's all because you didn't invest enough time in making sure that it was the right fit and setting it up to be successful. Like, it's only as good as the inputs. And if you put shitty stuff into it, you get shitty stuff out of it. Like, I don't think you'll ever use all of a CRM. They're so deep, right? Most of them go so deep and have so many nooks and crannies in them. I'd say I'm going with the old Sid Graph mantra here. Like, it's an 80-20 to me. You're probably going to use 80% of it, but make sure you know that 80% and really like know how it works. Jeremy Brooks says, I think this was back when I was talking about your couch. You want your couch to be comfortable, but not so nice that somebody wants to steal it. Jeremy said that's how he feels about Sean Day. I don't know exactly how to interpret that, but I think that was kind of his point. I think he wanted us to chew on that one for a little bit.
You never know with Jeremy.
You really don't know. You really don't know. That's what I like about him. I think Cole Sycophus, I can't imagine he wrote that, but the way it comes through on the feed here is just Cole Sycophus waving and waving. But Cole, if you wrote that, it's extra funny. If you took the time to put in parentheses waving, I even appreciate it more.
An emoji with an explanation.
Yeah, JC, you hit on one other thing about CRMs that I want to touch on too, as I was thinking about talking about this topic today, which is don't make a decision for this year. Switching CRMs sucks, you guys. It's probably the worst process change in our business. I switching payrolls kind of sucks. Switching phone systems kind of sucks. Switching your CRM is like everything. I mean, that's where you operate your business. And to JC's point, QuickBooks is not a CRM. That's just a bookkeeping place. I know, I'm a bookkeeper. I would highly recommend not using it to run your business. Use a CRM to run your business. Get a CRM that you can grow with. One of the reasons, back to why we support Service Monster and I like Service Monster, is I just literally right before this, and part of the reason I was late is I was on a call with a customer that is over 3 million in revenue. They're using Service Monster, right? They've been on it for a while. They can grow with it. Andy in Minneapolis, the exposure that I have to like running a business with Service Monster, Andy between two businesses is over 1.5 million. But it works at 50,000 of revenue, and it continues to work in the multi-millions of dollars of revenue. And if it didn't, people wouldn't be using it. You would be switching to something else, right? And it's hard that not every CRM is built to run a multi-million-dollar business on. And you hear people talk about them that way, like, oh, I'm like growing too big for the CRM. Pick a CRM that you can grow into. That is, as Tommy Mello would say, like a dream that all of his employees can fit into. Pick a CRM that is a CRM big enough for all of your growth plans to fit into. Because if you pick one too small, then you end up changing. Then you end up looking for CRMs like Rob Anderson, and you might end up trying all of them. But it sucks. I mean, it sucks if you spend a lot of time on it. So.
The only thing I would add that I didn't hear was customer service. Just if you can find out if they've got good customer service or not, that's just huge. Just stress relief. And if somebody's going to take a couple days to solve a problem that's like their problem and you can't function your business properly, that's a problem.
We had one of those. our CRM before Service Monster, that was kind of why we left. It was glitching, and I get it. It's software. It glitches. I mean, it caused our schedule to get screwed up. It caused our revenue to get screwed up. We can fix all that stuff. But then we couldn't get a hold of them. There was nobody to actually help us fix it. And then you just get we're looking into it. But what are we doing about it? And I mean, it makes it so you can't run your business, right? I'd say that's maybe the one downside of a CRM is they work so well, you get very dependent on them. And then when they don't work, you're like, uh-oh, I don't even know where Mrs. Jones lives. How are we going to get out to her house? I can't get into my CRM, right? I'd say that's one downside is they work so good, we get very dependent on them. But go check out Service Monster, you guys. And again, now is the time to switch. It's not just to go pick a CRM, pay for it, and off you go. You give yourself 2 months. You got to build it all out. You got to think about your systems and processes, your follow-ups, your estimates, your bids, your scheduling, your routing, how you manage capacity and demand. That was one of the reasons we loved Service Monster is you can manage your capacity demand on your schedule screen. You can route jobs on your schedule screen. I wish Zach was here so he could show it all to you guys. But like, think about how you're going to do all this stuff and how it fits into your systems and processes. It's not a 1 week task. It's not a 2 week task. It's a month or two of scrutinizing, and then it's for the rest of time learning new shit about it and adapting and they're just so powerful. So go get one. But if you have one you don't like, go check out Service Monster.
Hey, JC, is Steve still around the customer factor? Is he still running it?
I sent an email about 12 years ago. I'm still waiting for him to respond.
I heard he's got employees now. I heard Steve's got a couple employees now. I don't know. It's out there. It's out there in the world.
He used to be super hands-on with it. I don't know what's going on now, though. It's been a while. I used it about, 20 years ago or something like that.
Oh, yeah. Like, that's the CRM.
Yeah, I know he was ready to retire.
He's an OG. Steve's the OG of the CRM world in our space.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. All right. But that was bullet point number 1. Get your CRM figured out. Switch your CRM now. If you don't have one, do it. You need one. I mean, like, I'm so convicted on this. If people, and actually the guy that I was coaching earlier is a bookkeeping client of mine. And I was reiterating to him, I was like, yo, man, just remember, because he was still kind of waffling about it. And I was like, I told you on our demo, I'm so convicted in you getting a CRM. I told you not to sign up for my service until you go get a CRM. Like, it's more important than your bookkeeping to me. It is the thing that runs your business. There's not a lot to bookkeep if you can't run a good business. So go run a good business first, and then I'll tell you what's working and what's not working. But your operations sure as hell need to work, and you need to be able to go out there, route jobs efficiently. Your technicians need to have all the notes, know where to go. You gotta have good CRM. The second thing you need in there, in order for a CRM to be used appropriately, is you need good people to be using it. Because, like I said earlier, the outputs of it are only as good as the inputs. And Sean, I bet in the last week, I have thrown out the date of January 15th at least 30 times, because I keep talking to people and they keep talking about their growth goals. And I'm like, when are you planning on starting your recruiting? And they're like, I probably don't need anybody till March, or really, I've got enough people, so I probably don't need people till April. And I'm like, I'm going to stop you right there. Like, when are you going to recruit them? Right. And then I give them we have a bunch of data over the last decade. So let's get into the recruiting side, because I think that's another thing where you don't need to start recruiting right now, but you should start building the process right now, because January 15th, you better be running some damn ads or I'm going to come and get you. Sean, can you give us a little bit of the data that you've seen over the years as to why, recruiting early is so beneficial? And then we'll talk a little more about that. We'll get into it.
So first, let me say before I forget, it's a good time to work on, if you don't have a culture or you don't have core values or even your vision or a vision statement, I would start there. And because you can knock that out and have a lot of fun doing that too. It's a fun thing to really do. because those are the things that'll help drive your employees to want to wake up every morning and come to work for you, and retain your employees. So those are important things.
I'm glad you said that, because I had to rewrite on my to-do list that I owe you a core value video and a recruiting investment video. I've tried to I have all my bullet points literally written down of what I want in the video. I've yet to freaking make the videos for you. I'm on it.
I was hoping you'd take that hint. So that's where I would start, and have fun with it too. It's good stuff. Now, as far as the data is this. It's a good time right now to start thinking about what your hiring needs are going to be. Right, you need to start thinking a little bit about that in December, and maybe start thinking about, is it time to hire your first admin? Is it time to get an ops manager? That type of thing. Technicians, you can that's easy to forecast a little bit, but those office staff or the VA stuff, that Angela's not here, I'm sure she'd mention that. The thing is that I would rather make the mistake, and I don't necessarily think this is actually a mistake, but I'd rather that I made a mistake of trying to hire or recruit 2 weeks too early than 2 weeks too late. 2 weeks too early just means you're going to have to tell somebody your start date's not for a couple weeks yet. If you do 2 weeks too late, you might lose $20, $30, $40, $50,000 somewhere along the line before you get your schedule all straightened around and you get you're comfortable with booking deals, because you know that you've got people. If you don't have people, everything else is kind of going down the toilet. It's hard to schedule. It's hard to figure your schedule and all that stuff. So by far, January is the best time to recruit for a number of reasons. One, go Google it. Every job board says it. Every blog says it, because this little thing called New Year's Eve and New Year's Day, we all have these resolutions in January here. And we like what? We like to lose weight, our career, our finances. I'm not working for this clown again this year, man. I'm doing something different. And that's truly, it creates a lot of fluidity in the labor market in January. That alone does. So people are looking. And, if you're looking for employees, they try to plan ahead. These are the people we want to hire. People that plan ahead, people that think about their career, people that are thinking about what I can do today in order to improve my life in the next couple months. And most of them know they already want to work outdoors, or if they're in the maid service, they know they want to do those things. So that's one. There's just a lot more labor to be had. So supply and demand wise, tons more supply is going to happen in January. So when we talk about supply, we got to talk about demand. There's a lot more supply and a lot less demand, meaning this: your competition is going to sit on their hands until March before they start recruiting.
Most of them are waiting until April, because March they still have like one or two dudes that are coming back, right? So they don't start recruiting new guys till April a lot of times. Yeah.
Just supply and demand alone. I mean, low demand, high supply, less expensive. And the reason it's less expensive is, if you take a look, let's talk Indeed. Indeed's the number one job board out there. We all know that. It's an auction site. That's all Indeed really is. It's an auction site for labor. So if you've got people that your competition out there that are going to start to boost and sponsor, but they don't do it until March and April, and not a hell of a lot of them are doing it January, the cost for that labor is much lower because the demand is much lower. The auction hasn't quite started yet. It's like going to the auction and you've got all these things you can bid on and you're the only bidder, man. I mean, they're going to go real cheap. That's exactly what it is. So you save money. And then the third thing I'll say about it, Dan, is your employees are looking in January. The people, the smart people, the people that are prepared, the people that are thinking ahead are all doing it in January. The clowns that are, the C players aren't thinking about none of that stuff. They're just not thinking about it. They're not doing anything about it until March and April.
I like Gene's comment. Ever pass a tractor trailer going down the highway that doesn't say now hiring? The only one I can think of is the Bunty soap one from Super Troopers. I don't know if they had a hiring on their drug trafficking trailer. Michael, are you?
I'm raising, yeah. Like,
are you airing out your arm?
Anybody that has the ability to rewind, go back and listen to that again. That's like so good. I couldn't sit any better, Dan or Sean. Excellent. And then the benefit of it too, I have a lot of coaching clients. JC's an ex-coaching client, didn't leave me because he didn't like me, hopefully. But they go from zero to $250,000. Like I have a client in Canada, exterior cleaning, 4,000 route work in January, February. It's in Canada. And then in May, we'll do 250, 275 in sales. And so to Sean's point here, not only are you going to get those A players, right? But you're going to be able to capitalize on the season. So if you're listening to this and you own a seasonal business, pest control, landscaping, whatever it is, and you have that ramp up period of time and you don't have those employees hired and trained before the season, you're going to miss that. So don't think about the $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 it takes to hire and train them. Think about how many tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of dollars that you can add to your top line just by getting those people trained up and ready to go early. That's the difference between ordinary and extraordinary.
To that point, when I look back, and I reference this most when I'm talking about our maid service businesses that Sean and I ran together back in the day. When I look back at those, or Michael, to your point, even in a seasonal business, when our revenue wasn't where it could have been and we weren't crushing it, it was never due to sales and marketing. I mean, we would have been better if we would have been using click, call, sell all those years, but even then, it wasn't a sales and marketing issue. When our revenue was going backwards and going down or being stagnant, it was always due to not good enough capacity, not being out in front of it enough. And Sean and I are talking about this now. We learned this lesson so many times. We learned it in the spring, not recruiting soon enough. We learned it in the fall, not recruiting soon enough for like holiday light pushes and stuff like that. And Sean, to what you opened up this dialogue with, I don't know that there's ever a starting too soon, right? Are you starting too soon to build any relationship? Right. I don't think you could ever start too soon, because even if you met the A player in right now in December, but you don't need him till April, so what? You can't talk to him between now and then? Like, build a relationship that almost guarantees you that they're going to work for you in April when you need them, right? Build that relationship, stay in touch with them. That's the important thing.
And then the math too, like putting the math behind it as well. And I know you like numbers, Dan, so you might appreciate this. So let's say hypothetically you have to pay somebody $25 an hour. I'll go high for some of the people listening. And let's say it's paid 80 hours, like 80 hours of like somebody just like not really being at capacity. So I've hired people and I have 2 full weeks of them sitting around, like 2 people, 2 full weeks of sitting around. That's $4,000. If you're going to do $500,000 in sales this year, we're talking about an insignificant amount as a percentage, less than 1% that you're going to be paying people to literally sit around and do nothing. That's going to help you get to that sales number faster. So yeah, it's $4,000 that you'll be paying, but how much more revenue can those people create when the season does break? It pays for itself times 5 every time.
Yep.
So literally just go back and listen to Sean and just trust us and do what Sean said.
I have a correct answer, which is, and Sean knows this guy, Brent at Kahuna, $200,000 by himself. The guy did $200,000 of window cleaning and pressure washing this year, and we work for 8 months. He did $200,000. A good employee, exterior cleaning, $200,000.
Yeah. So how much does it cost you to not do that? Don't think about how much it costs to do it. How much does it cost you if you don't do it? Yeah. That number is way bigger than if you.
Man,
I think one of the things that we don't do either is, if you ask a business owner, most business owners have a budget for marketing. They're going to figure out their budget for marketing. They know their acquisition cost for a client, right? Why don't you have a budget for recruiting? Why aren't you thinking about that budget for recruiting? Look at what you paid, what you did last year, and some of you probably should be doubling that or tripling that. Actually.
Yeah, I was going to say probably more like 10x for a lot of folks. What I see,
literally, right? We're not being funny. I mean, literally. But get a budget together like you would with marketing. Is Brent over in Kahuna? That's a $200,000 a year sale. You better put a budget together for $200,000 of production there, right?
That's what I was going to say. Like, I would pay so much if you just said, "Hey, I got this Brent guy. He can do $200,000 of revenue in a year, and he shows up every day and he never complains." I'd be like, "How many thousands of dollars do you need right now?" Like, what would you pay? I'd pay $10,000 without question to go get that guy. Probably more than that if I actually like put the math to it. And people are like, "I had to post $500 on Indeed. Like, this sucks." Like, man, it's the most important thing in your business. And you're complaining about 500. You're complaining about a rounding error. Like $500 when you scale a business is a freaking rounding error. Where you're like, "Oh, it doesn't matter. It's $500." It's like it's an irrelevant thing, and yet people are so unwilling to spend it sometimes. It's crazy to me. JC, what you got? You've been off mute for a while, and I know when you come off mute, you got something. Oh, and then he just disappeared. Wow. What is he doing? What did I say?
He's trying.
Man.
Let's wait.
Yeah. That's the nature of being on the road. Life on the road.
On the road.
Yeah, he's driving
You're
to the
on
middle
mute,
of nowhere,
DC.
North Carolina right now. So who knows what kind of service he's getting.
He's on mute.
Anything. He's in and out. But Michael, I want to transition this to marketing here. We made JC jumps back on. I know he's got something, but I think so many people want to focus on their marketing, and like I said earlier, I just always find, looking back at our data, that when we couldn't grow our revenue, it wasn't because we couldn't find Michael Gregory to help us do the marketing stuff. It was because we couldn't even use Michael's service. So many times we had to stop marketing because we lost employees or didn't have capacity or didn't start recruiting soon enough. And like, we know how to grow. We know how to go get leads. We know how to get more customers. It was always when we didn't have enough good employees to even to like go do the marketing. We couldn't even afford the marketing. And so, Sean, when you talk about the budget, and this is me being nerdy finance Dan for all of you, you kind of already have a recruiting budget. You just think it's a marketing budget. But your marketing budget is useless if you suck at recruiting. What are you going to go hire a bunch of half-ass employees to go send out to your customers and like spend all your money on marketing and then send them shitty employees? No, like if you got $30,000 set aside, $50,000 set aside, whatever you plan on spending on marketing, until you have the best team you've ever had, that is your recruiting budget. Once you have the best team you've ever had, then go dump it in marketing, because now you actually have great people to send out to those customers. But why spend a bunch of money on marketing to just send them a half-ass employee that's going to make you look bad, right?
True.
And not going to get a repeat, not going to get a referral, not going to show up on time for you and make you pound your head against the wall because you hired a piece of shit employee. Like, get the employees first. Use that marketing budget is just a recruiting budget, and it's like, which one do you need right now? So use it in that sense. Like, you have a recruiting budget. It's the marketing budget that you don't get to spend unless you do the recruiting first.
Yeah. And that's one of the reasons we've talked about this before, maybe not on the radio show, but one of the reasons I wanted to partner and acquire Hire Lead Show with you, Dan, is because one of my biggest frustrations, it feels really good and really terrible at the same time. Every single year, April, May, June, 15, 20 people just cancel service. And they say, we're too busy. And it's like, that sucks, right? Like, here we are. We're doing a good job. You're getting leads. Everything's working out. But now you're too busy, so you're going to stop.
You worked your way right out of a client. You did such a good job that they fired you.
So now we just like preemptively say, like, get people hire. It works so much better. So you have to balance the opportunities coming in, sales and marketing, with the infrastructure you have on the back end. And it's just a balancing act of those two things for as long as you scale your company.
I saw JC just jumped on as a viewer now, so he's struggling with the signal, but he's here. He's here with us in more than spirit. Gene says, guys market when they don't have business rather than marketing when people are seeking your services. Then, like Dan said, there's no reason to market if you can't service the customer.
So that's true. Gene seems like a smart dude.
It is a transition a lot of us need to make. When we first start, it's like us and a helper, right? And so marketing is the thing because we are the labor. As we start to scale, we're no longer the labor. And so the labor is the thing you have to go find first. And I say first, you can't really do one without the other, right? If you go hire a bunch of people, yeah, maybe you can pay them for a couple weeks, but eventually they're going to leave because they're bored.
Oh, yeah.
So you can't just recruit and you can't just market. It's all the tires on the track. You got to be willing to do both at the same time.
Oh, JC's iPhone made us all sound like robots on acid. Crazy. My Android phone is coming in clear, like crystal clear. It's amazing.
Yeah,
I'm on Android too.
Weirdos, you weirdos.
So the last comment you had before, JC, another thing that we see is people turn off their ads because they can't service a customer. And then the summer slowdown. Every industry has some level of seasonality, right? Shoulder season for the trades, HVAC, whatever. So then it gets slow, demand dips, and then everybody wants to flood and come back into the game. And what happens is demand's 50% of what it was, and everybody jumps back into the space. So you have more competition ever competing for half the amount of leads. And you wonder, like, why is lead cost higher? Well, it's a bidding mechanism. and you're coming into the space the same time everybody else is. So you got to capitalize on the season and extend it as far to that slow period as you possibly can. That's how you win.
I was having that same discussion today. We were doing some budgeting with the client and talking about when to spend marketing dollars. And I put it in terms of recruiting, which is, yeah, I know you don't need, and this is one of the 20, 30 times that I've mentioned, like mid-January is the time to get going on your recruiting. But I was trying to draw the parallels with marketing, which is when people are seeking your thing, and Sean, you put it well about the supply and the demand. Like when all that demand is out there, even if you can't service it, go get the lead, right? Build the relationship. Somebody else might service it right now, but and to Michael's point, like try to get the capacity to service it. Be proactive, go get the capacity. But to market to people that aren't looking gets really expensive. Market when they are looking. Go build that list. The same reason you recruit in January. I know you guys don't need employees in January. That doesn't mean don't go build relationships. Recruiting and hiring are two different things. Recruiting and hiring are two different things. Recruit in January, hire them in May, March, or April. Build a relationship. If you're awesome, they're going to want to come and work for you. They might keep the job they have and wait it out, or they might find a new job, still stay in touch with them. They might find a job that ends up sucking in 2 months, and then you hire them in March or April. Like that totally is fine, and it works super well, actually. So like build the relationship, find the A players. No different than what Michael just said about marketing. You know people are shopping in April and May. Yes, we all need more work in July and August, but you don't find it in July and August. You find it in April and May. And there's a whole bunch of ways to handle that, whether that's building the relationship and offering service in the summer at a discounted rate, that's servicing them now. And this is a thing that I love to recommend for like mature businesses where you have a big client list, like use your client list in February and March, in July and August, and maybe a little September. And that's when you hit repeat business. The rest of the year, we try to like avoid talking to our clients because we know there's new clients pouring in May and June. In October, November, we don't need repeats then. We need our repeats to help fill the holes when we don't have a bunch of new clients. So we try to incentivize and communicate a bunch with the people already in our database to go in those slow time periods. A bunch of them want to go during the busy time periods too, but we can manipulate it to the best of our ability to try to get the work where we want. JC pointed out, Sean, he said, Sean, I've heard that speech 100 times, and I don't think you say it loud enough. It's so true. Never gets old. I don't think enough people listen about the capacity versus demand and the recruiting timing. And it is so true. In our businesses and all the businesses that we do bookkeeping for, over and over again, the people winning have the best employees. And then you get to use click, call, sell. But you got to have great employees. Otherwise, you're going to pay Michael a bunch of money to get you a bunch of leads that are going to get really disappointed in your crappy employees when you send them out there. And you're going to frankly, like selfishly for you, you deserve to have great employees. Having great employees is awesome. It makes the business so much more fun. Like, why not invest in the thing that makes your life the easiest? We do it in so many other places. And yet when I watch people recruit, they complain that nobody shows up and I got to pay Indeed. And they just complain about it and act like they're a victim. It's just some victim bullshit. It's like, there's a bunch of businesses out there being super successful and you're sitting here acting like you couldn't be one of them. Right. And because it's easier to complain than it is to fix it. But I'm telling you, it's not that hard to fix it. We know how to fix it. We know what to do with it. You just got to go do it. You got to be willing to do the work. And when you do, you never regret it. Nobody ever regrets having freaking a bunch of Brents on your team that can do $200,000 a year and just show up on time every day and never complain. Nobody worries about that guy, right? He's out there. We recruited him once. I'm pretty sure Brent's like one of a kind, but also there's a lot of good employees out there. You just got to be willing to do what it takes to go find them. Some people are just more inclined to bitch about it. What were you saying, Sean?
Saying it a different way, saying the same thing a different way, because when I see it and I hear people talk about how hard it is to find good help, it's always the people that always focus in, and I can't get them off of it. The problem, never execute on their hiring needs. When I get somebody on a demo that says, dude, I've tried this shit and I know what the problem is and what's the solution, what I need help fixing this. Those people execute on their hiring needs. So, I mean, that if you think about this on a high level and just tell yourself this, because it's true as true gets, man. If you solve your employee problem in your business, you solve the employee side of your business, you've solved 90 to 95% of your problems, period.
Period. That checks out. That checks out.
I mean, that's just the way it is.
Yeah.
JC.
It's refreshing.
Yeah, there we go. I was on mute. Yes. But the caveat to this, and I love employees, I love culture, I love people, I love winning. If you don't have good culture, if you don't have good systems in place to teach these people, if you can't communicate effectively, if you can't be a good leader, it doesn't matter who you hire. They're not going to stay with you. They're not going to work for you. And it doesn't matter how much money you spend to recruit the best people. If you cannot teach them, coach them, work with them, work beside them to want to be a part of your company, a part of your vision, then they're gone. And I hear it all the time, like, the market sucks. Like, let's put Christmas lights on the page right now. Like, how many Christmas light companies couldn't find people to work? We had too many people at one point. Then we needed more and we got more. But that's a very volatile, fast, short season to find good people. But if you have the right culture, the right, company, the right everything, you're doing it for the right reasons, you'll find them. And if they're not the best, they can turn into some of the best people. So
yeah, I just put that's huge. We put a client portal together. We call it the Growth Hub. It talks about culture. It talks about core values. It talks about these things. And one of the last ones on there, JC, is leadership is everything. And that's exactly, I go through all of that. And the last one is leadership is everything. All the stuff that I just mentioned and all those other courses and products and videos and all that in the Growth Hub is irrelevant if you don't have that leadership.
Yeah, I think it's a hard realization for people to realize that maybe it's not the workforce, it's me as the business owner. Because when you constantly see the same people saying the same thing and having employee issues over and over and over, I don't think it's your town, your city, your location that we really need to be looking at, much as what you're doing to get the right people and retain them.
Yep. Somebody in that town, there's businesses out there doing well, and I'm pretty sure there's employees working for them. Somebody in your town's got it figured out. I do think recruiting can be extra frustrating because it is a little bit trickier, right? And it requires more of you. It's hard when the answer is in the mirror. That stuff is tough, and typically it's shit that it's easier to whine about than it is to change. It's easier to blame somebody else than it is to change yourself. So I get that it can be tough, but somebody out there is going to get those employees. They're going to want to go work for somebody. And all the people you see complaining that they can't hire people are the people that haven't figured it out yet, right? That's just what it is. And I get it. It sucks. It's frustrating if you can't hire people, but the only next step is to go look in the mirror. That's it. That's where you got to start. Is you got to be like, what am I doing wrong that nobody wants to work for me? Like, and I mean, just the same way that I would say not everybody, having kids, one of the best things I've ever done. Not everybody should be a parent. Running a small business is one of the best things I've ever done. I freaking love it. Not everybody should be a small business owner. And some people should, but not everybody should try to scale. It's being a leader is different than being a doer out in the field. It is not for everybody. It's the same. It's in a funny way. It's the same as parenting, right? In like a really crude, high level sort of way. It definitely ain't for everybody. It's awesome when you have great people and you get to like watch them elevate, and hell, sometimes that's elevate out of your company, right? That's still awesome when you get to like watch them take it to another level and you feel like you got to play a little part in it. That ride sure as hell ain't for everybody. And I see it in some of my clients, and Sean, I'm sure you see it in a handful of yours. I was going to say to what Jason said earlier, I always have like a earbud up to what you got going on, and my least favorite but secretly favorite in a funny sort of way is when people are like, you guys can't find good people because I hired them and they don't stay. And you guys, I just think it's hilarious when you get blamed for they chose to hire people and then the people didn't stay, and they're like, my recruiting's not working because you found me people, I chose to hire them, and then they chose to leave. It must be like, how egotistical or naive to not be able to look in the mirror on that one and be like, who can I blame for this besides me? My recruiter. It must have been their fault that I hired this person that they found for me, and then the person thinks I suck, and so they left. I'll blame Sean for that. It's just hilarious. It's unfortunate, and it's hilarious. Gene says, always try to schedule your customer for their next service, even a year out. It's a lot easier on the mind to recruit when the schedule is already full. Heck yeah. There you go. I like that. I want to, before we wrap up here, we got a few minutes left. Marketing stuff. Well, we got the Michael in the house. I'm just going to say, like, from a outside looking in, I'm not the marketing expert here, but man, if I have like website needs, which I actually have a couple things that I probably need to run by your team, Michael, but like winter is the time to do a project like that. If you need a new website, if you need to find a new vendor, go find, like, now's the time, right? So that you're ready to go for a spring marketing push, but get your marketing infrastructure right now, and then start building a plan. Michael, I'm going to shut up to let you tell people what they should do from a marketing standpoint, but I sure is, in addition to recruiting, like I said, you can't do just one or the other. You got to do both. And if I'm talking to Sean, my next phone call is to Michael.
Yeah, no, it's a really good question, Dan. So half of our requests for a website come in Q1. And the reason is, one, the industries we work with are seasonal, but two is everybody wants like a fresh, clean slate for the spring season. So number one piece of advice I can give you is, if you want to get something started and you have it ready before the beginning of spring, whether you use Click Call Sell or any other agency, do it before the end of the year or right at the beginning of the year. Because I'm telling you, like, late January, February, early March, it's gangbusters, because everybody's going to have the same exact idea that you are. Another reason to get it done early is because when demand and search volume, everything's down, and you redo your website, it has Google gives it a chance to crawl the site a few times and kind of let it recalibrate before the season and demand really picks up. And you can also have time to look at your call to actions and where the forms are, and like how it's all laid out so that you can maximize conversion rates. So one of the cool things I like about getting a new, updated, refreshed website, which should probably happen every 2 to 3 years, is that you're going to get people that you have the brand perception, right? New, modern, awesome looking websites make customers feel like you're a franchise or you're a bigger company than you really are. It just automatically creates that perceived value and trust, which makes people want to call you. So you get that first phone call and they're excited. They're happy to talk to you because you've done such a good job at showing and presenting your brand to your audience.
Heck yeah. On the ad spend side of it, if somebody's coming to you and is like, hey, I know this year maybe I've done Google ads, but I'm not happy with the person, or I've never done them before, but I want to look at it, or some local service ads, or whatever they're looking at.
So that's one. And there's just,
what was that? I heard Sean talking, but
I didn't say a word. That's weird.
Michael's over there clicking on
I
himself.
didn't do anything. JC, I
My
know.
bad.
Jai's back there editing videos.
Oh, it's Jai. Jai's over
My
there
bad.
doing producer stuff.
He's already
Jai's
doing
doing
the
it. Yeah. I was just like,
My
man,
bad, guys.
I was looking at Sean and I'm like, I hear him talk. How is he doing that? I hear him. He's not moving his mouth.
I'm sorry. My bad. I was doubling with the butt here.
Doubling up the butt. Jai was doubling up on the butts. Hey, can't blame you. I was fishing with Joe Devino down in Cedros Island off Mexico, and we had a butt double up, we think, 2 halibut on the line at a time.
Nice.
Doubling up the butts. But Michael, if somebody's looking at like putting together a marketing plan and doing ads, is that something they should be looking at right now, or is that easier to flip the switch on just in March if that's when they want to start advertising? How long? Like, website, I would imagine, is more of a project, needs more time to get everything dialed in. If it's ad stuff, what's the runway?
Google Ads have changed a lot in the last couple of years. So a lot of it is like machine learning. So it does take a little bit of time for your bidding for conversions to take hold. So yeah, probably 30 days before the season really kicks off is when you want to be turning on your Google Ads so that you have a little bit of time to learn. But for the off season is just start getting in the habit of just creating content, right? It's just like starting to write those Facebook posts and getting your brand out in front of your audience. We've had the privilege of working with so many really, really successful, well-known brands in the home services space, and we never lose them. Like, literally never lose them as clients. And everybody who owns an agency would agree is those are the best clients, because it's like fishing in a stock pond. It's not even fair. They focus on building their brand. They focus on doing the other things rather than just relying on the bottom of the funnel. JC's a great example of this. Is, you know, he's always out, big, bold, wrap vehicles, yard signs, hangars, referral programs. Everybody in the town knows who he is. And so when you go to search at the bottom of the funnel, that level of familiarity, like that, they feel comfortable calling Patriot Illumination because of all of the other work that he's done. A lot of clients come on and for Christmas lights or whatever, and they're like, I've never done a flyer, I've never done a door hanger, I've never done anything. I don't even have a Facebook business page, but make it rain with Google Ads. It's really hard to make that happen because they don't have a brand, and you're competing against people that have familiarity and branding.
I had that conversation with somebody this last week that they're like, yeah, I tried Google. It just didn't work that well. I'm like, what other marketing are you doing? Not much. It's like, yeah. So, I mean,
and
like,
think about your buying habits, right? So you're shopping on Amazon, you're shopping for a home service. We had a chimney guy come out here today, and we look for something familiar. We're looking for something that we at least recognize. And I use Stanley Steamer. I've probably used this 100 times. Like, everybody's heard of Stanley Steamer. I would use every carpet cleaning service that exists. I wouldn't, if Stanley Steamer knocked on my door right now and said, I'll give you $100 to clean my carpet, I'd be like, nah, I'm good. I don't want to do it. But they're super popular and everybody knows Stanley Steamer. And why? Because their brand crushes. Homeowners call them because they have such a powerful brand, not because they have the best service.
Nailed it. JC, Sean, I think made a note out there already, but you know, you look okay. Can you focus on that sunset behind you? It's a nice looking sunset.
It's beautiful.
Damn, dude.
Yeah.
Damn. Living that East Coast.
At the airport. I'm about to pick up the missus. That is pretty nice.
Good.
Great way to land. Great view coming in.
Hell yeah.
She laughed. She had turbulence this time, and last time she flew. And the 2 times I didn't fly with her, she's like, "How come I always get the roller coasters and you don't?"
Because you're in the back, Angela.
Yeah, part of that's sitting in the back of the plane. Part of that's sitting in the back of the plane. Doesn't she know that?
I was hoping she'd be out by now, but oh well.
Hey, you know, we missed her. I got to run. I got kiddos to pick up. I got swim lessons to do. I think I'm gonna bring my swimsuit. I'm gonna do some swimming. They got a big ass water slide. They got a big water slide that's got lights and they play you music while you go down. So I'm gonna go rock out and ride down the water slide. And I think Ben's standing outside. I got to get my smoker grill. We got venison processing this weekend. Big things in store. Sean, Michael, JC, you guys are awesome. Thanks for hanging out. Business nerds. Thank you guys for hanging out. I got the dude from Live Switch coming on tonight. What's his name? I'm forgetting his name. I got a blank. Anyway,
James Ryan.
James. You got James coming on tonight. Dude's a wild card.
Great story.
Yeah. He's hilarious, man. I'm looking forward to catching up with James. Live Switch will be talking to him tonight. In the meantime, you guys know what to do. Work smarter and harder. Go earn yourself some pride. We'll see you in a few hours right back here on Home Service Happy Hour. Peace out.
See you, Dan.
Hey.
See you guys.